Hello, Giants fans, and welcome to the Valentine's Views podcast here on Big Blue View Radio, part of your SB Nation family of podcasts. I'm your host, Ed Valentine of Big Blue View. Please like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're listening to us across the Big Blue View Radio network. All right, Giants fans, few topics to hit this morning as we get to the Giants' Week 1 game against the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. Giants will be preparing all week for that. They'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday this week before heading to Tennessee on Saturday for Sunday's 4:25 kickoff. Big news of the day on Monday was that Giants head coach Brian Daboll said that offensive coordinator Mike Kafka will indeed call plays this year for the Giants on offense. Daboll, who obviously has been a highly successful offensive coordinator in his own right, which is what actually earned him the head coaching job with the Giants, had been non-committal about that going all the way back to when he was hired, all the way through the spring. Kafka did the play calling through training camp, the preseason games. Kafka did the play calling, and Daboll made it official on Monday that is indeed how the Giants will go entering the regular season. Mike Kafka, former Kansas City Chiefs quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator, and a one-time backup quarterback in the NFL, will get his first opportunity to call plays in the NFL. And Giants fans, I think this is the right call by Brian Daboll. I think this is a very egoless call by Daboll, who I'm sure would love to call plays. I'm sure that he believes, that a big part of his success, a big part of judging whether he's a success or a failure as a head coach will be, how this Giants offense does, how Daniel Jones develops, and he will be very, very involved in all of that. But this is a very adult decision by Brian Daboll to allow Mike Kafka to call plays. I think that I have always been one who favors the CEO head coach, the type of head coach who doesn't have his face basically in a play card while things are going on around him that he should be aware of, that he should be controlling, but that he's not paying attention to. I think back to the 2 years of watching Ben McAdoo with his face buried in a monstrous play card, having nothing to do with special teams, having nothing to do with the defense, not really having a relationship of any sort with defensive players, and really being a glorified offensive coordinator. I simply do not like that type of head coach. Obviously, it works for some coaches. It works for Sean McVay. It works for Andy Reid. It does work for some coaches. It might work for Brian Daboll. He has a very strong defensive coordinator in Wink Martindale. He has a very good special teams coordinator in Thomas McGahee. I simply like the head coach who has his hands into everything on game day. Daboll can certainly lean into a headset and tell Kafka what he wants in a given circumstance, what he wants in a given scenario. He certainly has the right to overrule and jump in and call a play here whenever he wants to, or insist on a certain sequence or a certain personnel package. He obviously has that right. And let's hope that he exercises it when he thinks it's necessary. But he's showing faith in his offensive coordinator. One of the great things about what Brian Daboll did here is that Daboll hired a veteran offensive and defensive coaching staff. He hired people who have been around the NFL, who know what they're doing. And I think this is a mark of an adult, a mark of a person who feels secure in what he's done, what he's accomplished, and in the people that he's hired, and allowing Mike Kafka to go ahead and call the plays. Obviously, at some point down the road, if it's not working, I'm sure we'll see Dable take that job over, but hopefully we won't get to that point. Again, I just think this was a good, solid adult decision by Brian Dable. Glad to see it. And I always think that, especially for a first time head coach, for a first year head coach, that that being the play caller is a very, very big responsibility. And if you have to undertake it, if you simply don't have someone else to do it, then fine. But I know that this decision makes GM Joe Shane happy. Shane had said back in the winter that he would prefer that Dable not call plays. It makes me happy as well. So we'll see how it works out. Mike Kafka gets his first NFL opportunity to be a regular season play caller, and we'll see how it goes. In his Monday press conference, Dable was pressed several times about the release of Blake Martinez, something he hadn't addressed yet. And really, he refused to discuss it. He said he wished Martinez well, and was just moving on. Said he had faith in the guys still on the roster: Tay Crowder, Micah McFadden, Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin, Austin Calitro, and really didn't want to get into the reasons for the release of a quality player like Blake Martinez. So I can't blame Daboll for that. Really doesn't help him in any way, shape, or form to discuss it, uh, to trash Martinez, to detail what went into that decision. Really, just doesn't do him any good. So did the right thing by really deflecting those things. Media obviously had to ask, and Daboll did the right thing by really deflecting and refusing to get into that debate. Couple of other things to go over. This week's opening odds from our partners at DraftKings are out, and last time I looked, as of Monday morning, Giants were 5.5-point underdogs. I'll get into to my picks and complete staff picks this week on Thursday. I believe we're going to run our week one picks this year. Big Blue View staff members will be picking every NFL game. You'll see picks from 5 or 6 of us as we compete throughout the NFL season to see which one of us is the best NFL prognosticator. We'll be picking straight up winners, and we'll give you in that post we will each give you our rationale for why we're picking for or against the Giants in that given week. Again, that should be coming up on Thursday for you. Giants, again, a 5.5-point underdog heading into week one's game in Tennessee against the Titans. Another thing to mention, Giants have continued to churn the bottom of the roster. And this is something that really we should all be used to now as fans of the NFL, as watchers, followers of the NFL. This is simply what happens, especially when you're a team that's been struggling for as long as the Giants have been struggling. On Monday, the Giants added veteran cornerback Fabian Moreau and wide receiver Marcus Johnson to their practice squad. I would expect Moreau to end up eventually on the 53-man roster. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's a practice squad elevation this Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. Remember that teams can elevate 2 players to their roster off the practice squad each week. So I think that one of those elevations this week is going to be safety Tony Jefferson, guy who was claimed last week or signed last week, late in the week, guy who has about 3.5 years of experience in Wink Martindale's system, knows it as well as anybody, and should have no trouble really assimilating into the defense, understanding what the calls are, what his responsibilities are, and could add some veteran leadership, veteran presence to a group of players who realistically are still learning, Martindale's scheme, still learning what he wants, playing for Wink for the first time. Jefferson should be an excellent addition to the ball club. Johnson is I believe, 6'1", 207, I believe, are his measurables. Guy who some of the Giants staff has familiarity with from Philadelphia and from Indianapolis. I believe Giants wide receivers coach Mike Groh was with Johnson in both of those stops. Giants assistant general manager Brandon Brown was with Johnson in Philadelphia in 2017, I believe. So the Giants have some familiarity there with Johnson, who I think has 51 career NFL receptions. Going to be interesting to see if he eventually finds a role on the 53-man roster. But this kind of bottom of the roster churn is going to continue, and obviously is going to be impacted as the season goes along by injuries. One other note, Giants fans, Tuesday at 4 p.m. is when NFL teams have to be under the salary cap, which is $208.2 million. Giants are a little bit more than $5 million over that cap figure entering Tuesday morning. The logical move for the Giants to make will be to restructure and extend the contract of defensive lineman Leonard Williams. We'll see if they do that. Williams' cap hit, I think, is 27 million and change in 2022, 26 and change in 2023. We'll see if the Giants can extend Williams' contract for a couple of seasons, lower that cap hit by maybe $20 million or so, which would give them get them under the cap and give them some room to maneuver throughout the season. So we'll see, and we'll be watching for that news, Giants fans, as the day unfolds, and we'll have that for you at bigblueview.com if and when it does happen, and any other news of the day. Again, your Giants will be practicing on Tuesday. Head coach Brian Daboll and some of the players will be available to the media, and we'll have any news developments, et cetera, anything that happens on Tuesday out at Quest Diagnostics that involves your New York Giants, you'll be able to find at Big Blue View. So please keep coming back to our website for all of your Giants needs. All right, Giants fans, thank you as always for listening. Please remember to stay safe out there, take care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.